Hey, what's going on, everyone? This video we're looking at the NBA slate for Wednesday. It's a two-game slate starting at 6:30 p.m. So let's get started. As always, appreciate it, the like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. We have Game 2 and a Game 7 tonight. Game 7 will be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that one. But starting off, we got the Heat and the Bucks once again. Starting off at point guard, Harden is 11-2. The price tag on Harden come down by a couple $100. It's just that now that Westbrook is back and his minutes are going up, that it's going to be a lot tougher for Harden to hit value. When he's above 11K, he can still do it, but Westbrook is a high usage player. We all know that. Westbrook himself is only 8,900, so I think he looks a little bit better. The minutes restriction on him should probably be well up to. Well, he said he would continue to have his minutes limited, but in a close game, if I expect him to play in the fourth quarter if this game is close, but probably will still try to keep him to 30 minutes. So they might keep him a little bit limited in the first three quarters. But if this game is some competitive, they're going to throw the minutes restriction out the window. Just what I believe. Then you have Chris Paul at 82. He might look a little bit better than Westbrook just because he's probably going to play 40 minutes, and I don't see Westbrook getting that many minutes. So I do like Chris Paul a little bit more. It's a Game 7. He doesn't want to go home. Facing off against his former team, he really wants to stick it to them for trading him. So Chris Paul at 8,200, I think that just looks really nice. He's probably going to get you at least 40 fantasy points, upside in the 50s, and just going to shoot a lot. The assist numbers have been down for him just because Shooter handles the ball, SGA handles the ball. They have a lot of guard lineups that they run, so he's not getting a ton of assists, but he does pick and choose his spots. In Game 7, I expect Paul to be their best player. SGA is just 7,100. He just hasn't looked great. The Houston Rockets seem like they kind of have found a way to defend him. He just hasn't been super aggressive the last two games. I guess he's fine, but I'd rather go to Chris Paul, who I just feel a little bit more safer about. Dragic looks pretty good too. He's 6,900, so the price tag on him has gone up a little bit, but he's still playing a lot of minutes. His shot's been falling, which is great, and he does a little bit of everything with the rebounds and assists, so I think he looks like a viable option. Probably like Dennis Schroeder more than SGA today, just because Schroeder, we know he's going to shoot a bunch. Even if they're not falling, he's going to shoot 15, 16 times a game, something that SGA hasn't done the last couple. So, it seems like SGA is the third option besides Shooter and Chris Paul. They also have Gallo, who can get hot and shoot a bunch. So I think the price tag on Shooter looks a little bit better than SGA's. Bledsoe, we'll see if he's in or not. If he's in, then that just makes some of the other role players on the Bucks a little bit less appealing. If he's out, then you can play. Might want to play George Hill again, although didn't play him last time, and I probably don't know if he will. He's going to be super popular, but 36 minutes out of George Hill. Normally he'll at least get you 20-something fantasy points in that scenario. But every once in a while, we know he's not the highest usage player, so people might be scared off of him just by his last performance. KENDRICK NUNN is back in the rotation, which is nice to see, but he's just not playing as enough minutes to just warrant a ceiling. I guess he could punt with him at 3,600 and hope that he gets hot, but I think it's still not a spot that I love. So Chris Paul is definitely my favorite. I think just based on the price tag, based on the fact that it's a Game 7, and just going to play 40 minutes at least. Shooting guard, BUTLER is 83. He absolutely went off in that fourth quarter, getting you 53.5 fantasy points. Most of that came in the second half, but he still was great. He also didn't contribute much in the rebounding and assist categories, but still got it done because he scored a playoff career high. He looks good. Nothing wrong to say with Jimmy Butler. Gordon, he shot 3 of 12. Normally when Gordon shoots as bad as he has some of these games, 8 of 24, 3 of 12, normally he will get you single digits or maybe teens in fantasy points. He's been a lot better at getting rebounds and assists this series and the playoffs as a whole, and he's actually been pretty good with the steals. So 58 for him. The price tag has come down a bit. He's still playing pretty big minutes, so I guess he looks pretty good at shooting guard. You could also play him at small forward. Hero is 5,300. Not really feeling it. I guess he can get hot and shoot a bunch, but I think they have so many guys like Duncan Robinson can also steal some minutes. I'm not really interested in either one of those guys. Iguodala just doesn't get a lot of usage. The minutes are also kind of inconsistent. Like the one game where he had a reasonable game, he had 5 stocks, which accounted for half of his fantasy points. He's just not gonna get it done with the scoring. So this position isn't super deep. Like if Bledsoe is out again, DiVincenzo didn't play great. I mean, I guess I go Connaughton over DiVincenzo. Connaughton's only 3,700. So if Bledsoe's out, you could look at Connaughton, who should probably play 20 plus minutes. Also, Korver was great in that game, so you could play Korver. But really, I'd probably stay and like focus on some of these guys that I know are gonna play big minutes, like an Eric Gordon at 5,800 just looks really nice. Small forward Middleton is 81. The price tag is fine. I mean, he had a really bad second half. Had a great first half. Seemed like he was gonna break the slate, and then he scored like 7 points in the second half. Shot the ball terribly in the second half too. But overall, like Middleton, he looked a little bit better the last couple games. But price tag has also kind of reflected that. I think I might just like kind of prefer Giannis. I mean, always prefer Giannis, but like after some of the comments from last game, and he was taking some heat for not defending Butler. I think he's gonna really step up in this one. Gallo is 61. He looks pretty good. Like he shot 17 times. It seemed like they wanted to get him going early in that game. He took like 4 out of the team's like 6 or 7 shots, and played only 28 minutes, which was pretty like. I mean, I thought he was gonna play at least 35, but only played 28. Which was kind of surprising, but he played good in those minutes. You know, if he's going to get hot shooting, then he's going to be out there on the court. They're going to need some scoring, and if like SGA continues to struggle, then Gallo looks pretty appealing. Price tag is nice on him. Love Robert Covington. He's a really streaky shooter, and recently his shot's been falling 3 straight games. He's made at least 50% of his threes. The Thunder are kind of giving him some good looks, and he's been capitalizing on that. The price tag has not gone up on him whatsoever. So Covington is another guy. Like him and Gordon, I think, look pretty good. Then you have nobody else that really jumps off the page. Probably like Gallo and Covington the most. Go with Covington at small forward. Power forward, you have Giannis, who was really bad in that game against Miami, especially from the free throw line. Missed 8 free throws out of his 12, which just can't happen. Was 1 assist shy of a triple-double, but he just wasn't as aggressive. Only took 12 shots. The Heat have made it tough on him. They were very good in transition, which is kind of where Giannis shines. They made it tough for him, made it impossible for him to get in transition and get easy layups or dunks. So, the price tag on him is the same as it was. I expect him to bounce back, and I kind of prefer Giannis over Harden today, just because the Bucks definitely don't want to go down 2-0 in the series. And Giannis, the one positive that you could take out of it was that he played 37 minutes. He played like the entire. I think he definitely played the entire fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, and he played like the last 2 minutes of the third. So they left him in there, and he didn't really capitalize on the extra minutes. But we know normally if you give Giannis like 35, 36 minutes, something that he wasn't normally getting in that first series, then he's gonna be able to like put up a big score. So definitely like Giannis, I will be probably going to him and trusting him in this one. At center, we have Bam at 79. He was great in that game. 17 rebounds. Only scored 12 points, but we know with Bam, you don't need him to score like 20 points to hit value. He's a great rebounder, a great passer. So whatever he gets in the scoring department is just going to help him. Like at least a double-double is what you kind of need, and then whatever else you get is just icing on the cake. Adams played 31 minutes. He only made 3 of 9 shots, which is something that you normally don't see because he takes most of his shots at the rim. So a guy that's shooting almost 60% from the floor. He got the rebounds as you would expect in this small ball lineup. Just wasn't able to capitalize just because he only scored 6 points. But I don't mind going back to him. Like I'd go back to Adams before I play Lopez. Lopez shot 8 of 10 and barely got you. I mean, he got you 32 fantasy points, but he only had 1 rebound. Like Giannis takes a lot of rebounds. Middleton gets some rebounds. Like Adams is gonna secure rebounds. At least you can, pencil that in, and then he's gonna get some looks at the basket. Just a matter of if he can knock them down. So I do like Adams at 5,700. I think he's just a little bit cheap. I mean, I normally would expect a double-double. out of him if he's playing 30 plus minutes. And then last but not least, as another value play, there's not a ton of value on the slate, but I think BAZLEY at 3,900 could like capitalize and be one of the better value plays on the slate. Like that game, 2 games ago, he played 26 minutes. Most of that came in the fourth because it was a blowout. And the last game he played 22 minutes. Some of that was because Lou Dort was in foul trouble. But it seems like BAZLEY's been playing pretty well, and he's been making the most of his opportunity. Dort only played 20 minutes, but it seems like Donovan's not too happy with him. Like he got off to a pretty bad start with some turnovers in that game and then got into foul trouble. But it seems like BAZLEY is more than capable of getting you some good fantasy points. He's a good rebounder and only took 2 shots, but still had 23 fantasy points, which was good to see. He gets to the rim he gets to the line sometimes too. So 3,900 when there's not a lot of value. I definitely think he looks good because he'll allow you to pay up for some of the if you want to pay up for Giannis or Harden, you can. And that's pretty much it. Like some other value plays to consider, I guess, are like if Bledsoe is out, I'm pretty sure I will be playing one of the value plays on the Bucks. If it's not Hill, I'll look at like Connaughton or Wesley Matthews or DiVincenzo. Like those guys are gonna play some minutes. Korver is just gonna shoot, but he was making some shots. But he made 3 of 7 threes and 4 shots, but only had 17 fantasy points. He's like, I'd rather go with like a guy that I think can get you more peripherals, like a Connaughton or a Matthews. But overall, and Kelly Olynyk is 3,500, but it's just not like a great spot for him. Like, only played 8 minutes. Seemed like Spoelstra kind of didn't want to play him out there too much, but he was decent. We'll see if he gets off to a better start, and he's playing better. Then maybe he'll get some more run. But he just made some silly fouls, and Spoelstra, we know he doesn't really take any of those kind of shenanigans. So overall, I will be focusing on like that second game. I think I like a lot because it's a game 7, expecting both teams to go hard, play both team starters to play a lot, minus like Westbrook if he's still limited. And then the first game, I'll pick and choose some spots, but I definitely think Giannis is going to bounce back. So that's pretty much it for the DraftKings side. Let's go over to FanDuel. Alright, over on FanDuel at point guard, we have Westbrook is down to 8,800. So both sites have kind of factored in the fact that he might be limited, the fact that he's kind of looked rusty the first 2 games. It's a game 7, so who knows how many minutes he'll end up playing, but I still rather trust Chris Paul a little bit more. I'd rather go to Dragic. I like those guys a little bit more, and then FanDuel also shook up some salaries. Now DiVincenzo is a point guard, but Chris Paul at 82 is just tough not to play in a game 7. Shooting guard, Harden is 11-4. Like, he looks good too. The position is pretty deep. You have Butler's up to 9K. I think he might get a lot of love, but I don't know. If he gets super popular, I might not have him just because, 9K Jimmy Butler, you're going to need him to probably have a similar, not a similar scoring game, but definitely going to have to like score like 25 to 30 points. And then Middleton is 75. He's looked better the last 2 games. I think you could go back to him. Before I go Butler, I think I might like Middleton at $1,500 savings. And then you have Shooter at 6K. He has struggled a little bit. Last game he just couldn't make a shot really. But overall, like 6K for Shooter, I'll take my chances with him. And that's pretty much it. Shooting guard continues to be pretty deep on FanDuel, so you got a bunch of different options to choose from. I still like 6K Dennis Schroeder. Small forward, Giannis 11-5. Then you have Gordon and Gallo. Like those are the 3 that I will pay up, like at least consider. I'm not that interested in anybody else at the position. You could punt with BAZLEY if you want, but I feel like going with Gordon or Gallo or Giannis. There's not a ton of options. There's like 4 or 5 guys you could realistically play at small forward. And for me, I think I will probably get up to Giannis at 11-5 today. Power forward, once again, there's like 3 guys that normally play minutes here. Bam and Covington and Jeff Green. But Green's minutes have kind of been down since Westbrook's been back and since Covington has been playing better. Like, played just 17 minutes last game. Covington has just been really good recently. So I go back to him and trust the minutes and hopefully he can stay hot shooting. And then at center, it's Lopez or Adams are two guys that I consider. Don't play PJ Tucker ever. Well, yeah, I don't play Tucker. I guess if you want to, you can, but normally he's not going to get me like enough fantasy points. It's only $700 difference between him and Adams, or $900 between him and Lopez. Like, those guys have a much higher ceiling. And there's nobody else that even plays minutes at this position. So there's three guys that play minutes at center. And for me, I'm going with Adams just because, like, he's going to see around 30 minutes. 2 games ago, he only played 25 because he didn't see any run in the fourth. But normally he's going to get you like 30 minutes. He finally had a steal, so shout out to him. But overall, it's been very good in terms of rebounding. The shots have been there. He just hasn't knocked some of them down. But overall, 55 for Adams. More often than not, he's going to at least get you 5x. Has upside to get you 6 to 7x. It's been a while since he's gone off. And like the way they're playing, the Rockets, he just has to be a little bit more aggressive. He's been getting some offensive rebounds, but hopefully we need him to like go back up and just put him back in instead of dishing it back out. So I'll go with Adams, 55. I feel a little bit more safe with him than going with Lopez, but I think both guys are pretty similar. So that's it for this 2-game slate. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and good luck today.